Oh, no, like, I think there's like the properties that are approved for the structures.
Good evening, and welcome to this meeting of Westminster's Mayor and Common Council. The council meets here at City Hall for the second and fourth Mondays of every month. Please note that council meetings, although open to the public here at City Hall, are also available and streamed live on the city's YouTube page, as well as the Community Media Center website and channel. I'll begin as we do every meeting with the pledge to the flag, followed by a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please take a moment if you have some sort of electronic device with you that might ring or buzz or somehow disrupt the meeting. Please silence that now if you could. Copies of tonight's agenda and the entire information packet that the council will be using are available online on the city's website. Copies of the agenda are available here in the front of the room for anybody who's present here with us this evening. I have a statement for the record about a closed meeting on Thursday, September 19th, 2024. In accordance with the general provisions article, section 3-306C2 of the annotated code of Maryland, and without objection, it is noted that the minutes of tonight's meeting reflect that the Common Council met in a closed meeting on Thursday, September 19th, 2024 at 4:47 p.m. pursuant to general provision article section 3-305B1 to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal of resident employees or other officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction. And the other personal matter that affect one or more specific individuals, and B7, consult with counsel to obtain legal advice. The motion to close the meeting was made by Ms. Gilbert, seconded by Mr. Hoff. The vote to close the meeting was unanimous. Voting yes for Mr. Dayhoff, Ms. Gilbert, and Mr. Hoff. Following staff members attended the meeting via Zoom. The Common Council took official action during the meeting. Closed meeting adjourned at 4:55 p.m. Thank you. Now, take a moment. We usually at this time have presentations if there are any, and it's been our practice for the last couple of years to often have a guest from McDaniel College. When Dr. Jaskin became president of the college, she promised us that she would try to have somebody here with us at as many meetings as possible from the senior staff to take back to the college leadership a little bit about what's happening in the city. Very pleased tonight to have the director of athletics, somebody that we don't usually see. Mr. Jeremy Shepard, who's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on and hopefully about how the Terrors are doing this year. So, Shepard, thanks for coming today.
Thank you for doing this. Okay. No, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. As I'm Jeremy Shepard, I'm the director of athletics at McDaniel. I just want to give you guys a brief update on how some of our sports teams. Women's soccer currently is ranked in the top 25 nationally. They're consistently a really good program. Looking forward to how the rest of the season goes with them. Hopefully we'll be hosting an NCAA tournament round here in Westminster in the near future. Great. So they're positioning themselves very well for that. So looking forward to seeing that season finish out and get into the postseason. Next season of women's wrestling. It'll be our 25th sport at McDaniel. They start practices coming up here real soon and we'll compete throughout the winter. Currently we have 11 women on the roster for the wrestling program, which is fantastic. It's an emerging sport for the NCAA. So there'll be a championship for women's wrestling coming very soon down the line. So we're really looking forward to this first season of women's wrestling at McDaniel. And of course, November 2nd is homecoming. Football on Saturday, along with swimming and field hockey, various other events going on campus that day. And just a reminder to everyone that, all of our athletic events are open to the community. They're free of charge. So we love to have the local support and people come out and cheer on the Green Terror at our games. And then another event that's coming up is probably one of our more favorite. We hold at the stadium every year. That's coming up on October 25th. All of our sports teams have different stations, different games, give away lots of candy, of course. We have music going on the whole time. And a lot of our student athletes dress up in costumes as well as we interact with the kids in the community. So it's one of our favorite events. We're really looking forward to that. So hopefully a lot of people will come out on October 25th and join us for a trick or tear at the stadium.
Pretty good. Great. Anything else for sure?
I think
That's great. Well, thanks so much.
I was going to say one thing. I would like to say congratulations on your women's wrestling coach.
Yes.
As well. Mr. Lau is a fantastic person.
Yes.
And I think he'll do a phenomenal job.
He is at it very hard. Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Well, if you got the NCAA, event here, please let us know.
Absolutely.
Love to share in the excitement of that. Great. Well, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate seeing you.
Thanks.
Now, we'll consider the approval of the minutes. We have minutes from the meeting of the mayor and common council, the closed meeting, September 9th, 2024, the work session of September 16th, the special calendar 19th, and the regular meeting of September 23rd. We have a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve all 5 sets of minutes. I did want to note on the September 23rd, 2000, acknowledge the correct commissioner that I had acknowledged for our water reuse funding, which was Commissioner Gordon, Bigliotti, and Karen. So with that change has been made.
All right, very good. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. And the minutes are all approved. Thank you. Next item is a mayoral appointment of Richard Huss to serve as a member of the city's Board of Zoning Appeals. Mayor Becker.
Thank you, Council President. So I think Richard Huss doesn't need much introduction. I think we all know him as a member of the community. He was very frequent at council meetings in the past when he was the representative, sort of self-appointed representative for the HOA at Fenby Farms golf course. And he still plays an active role in making sure that information about Wakefield Valley gets everyone, I think, has had a chance to see the application and his resume. And so I would put forward for council approval and appointment of Richard Huss to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
All right, thank you, Mayor. May I have a motion to confirm the mayor's appointment?
I'll make a motion to confirm the zoning appeals.
Thank you, Mr. Hoff. Is there a second?
I'll second the mayor's appointment.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dayhoff. The motion by Mr. Hoff, and a second by Mr. Dayhoff to confirm the appointment. Any discussion?
Mr. President, I'll just note, I know Mr. Huss as well. I think he's a very reasonable, thoughtful person. Because you want people that are going to be able to kind of reasonably hear different arguments and make a considered, logical decision. And I think Mr. Huss will be a great member of that board.
Thank you. What else?
Mr. President.
Mr. Dayhoff.
Yes, over the years, the TCA has played a really important role in the community, and I think you'll be an excellent choice, very thoughtful choice, and really appreciate the mayor's appointment.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dayhoff. I agree as well. He's got a lot of community experience as well as experience as an administrator in the public school system and understands a lot of issues that will be coming before the board for that reason, I think so. I'm glad to support it as well. So with that, unless there's any further discussion, we'll move on to a vote. All those in favor of the appointment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. You seem to have it. You guys have it. Mr. Barber, since we've got two of our members unfortunately are absent this evening, people record me very much. All right, move on now to the consent calendar. We have one item on the consent calendar. We have a motion to approve the consent.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar, Mr.
And I'll second that motion.
Second by Mr. Dayhoff. All those in favor, please say aye. Consent calendar is approved. Report from the mayor, Dr. Becker.
All right, thank you, President Pecoraro. So I have a little bit to report on since I had missed the last council meeting. But on Tuesday, September 17th, I gave a presentation to the Torch Club of Westminster and presented some information about our Pure Water Westminster project, which they were very interested in hearing about. And the response was absolutely. September, the members show opened at the Carroll Arts Center. I enjoyed a very nice evening there at the reception, and the show runs through November 9th. So there's a few more weeks of that left. On Wednesday, September 25th, I spoke at McDaniel College at the Carroll County Scholars Program event. If you're unaware of this program is a partnership between Carroll County school students. They can also be members of private schools, and McDaniel College, which focuses on college preparedness and preparation. And of course, if a student in Carroll County partners with McDaniel, it goes to a scholarship then for McDaniel College. On Wednesday, October 2nd, I spent a few hours with Girl Scouts talking about what it's like to be a mayor. I also helped them with their campaign sign event. They were making campaign signs to campaign for their favorite nonprofit to donate their cookie sales to. So that was a fun event. That was also the evening of Westminster Wednesday that I was in town for as well, enjoying dinner at Johansson's on that Wednesday night. On Tuesday, October 8th, the city was honored to host Secretary of Housing and Community Development, Jake Day. We spent some time talking about the buildings on Main Street, which will be assisted by the monies awarded to Westminster. Very thankful for. We took a walking tour of Main Street, including ARC, which is run by Magic, and also visited some buildings downtown to discuss ways that the Secretary's office could help us. And then finally, I won't say very much about it. I think we'll probably talk about it a little bit later. Saturday, the Oyster Stroll, it was packed, the weather was perfect, and I think everyone had an excellent time. And that's my report.
All right, very good. Thank you. As we always do with our liaison to the Carroll County Arts Council, Mr. Dayhoff.
No report on the Arts Council. Thank you, sir.
All right, very good. Thank you. Mr. Hoff, Economic and Community Development Committee.
No report tonight.
All right, thank you. I have nothing for the Finance Committee or the Personnel Committee. Public Safety Committee, Mr. Gavachi is of course out of town, so we will allow the chief to share news in that area that we need to hear about. So we'll pass and share on that as well. Recreational parks, again, Mr. Gilbert is not here, but as we know, we'll talk a little bit more about her things later as well. But technology for the I have nothing to share there. Council comments and discussion. Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Jeff, Technology Committee.
Oh, no report, sir. Thank you.
Council comments and discussion. Mr. Dayhoff, anything you'd like to share?
No, really enjoyed the Oyster Stroll.
I had the opportunity to visit the White House grounds, I should say, the Eisenhower Executive Building, not the actual White House, along with MML leadership. That was definitely an interesting experience, as I've never been on the grounds before, so you had to go through Secret Service and all of that. But that was a real neat opportunity. And as the mayor already touched on, it was a great visit with DHCD and Jake Day and his team. I really appreciate their efforts and work when it comes to housing and otherwise. We had absolutely gorgeous weather, which is nice for a change sometimes, because some of our city events tend to be haunted by rain. So it's nice this one went forth without any rain. So that's it.
Thank you. Well, I will just say for the Oyster Stroll that on Friday evening, it was nice to reflect on the fact that for once this day, so I was very pleased for her and for everybody else working on the stroll as well. Certainly, if anybody in the family is not going to move on now to bids. We have two items this evening. The first is the award of a contract to CJ Miller, LLC of Hampstead, Maryland, in the amount not to exceed $3,125,957.60 for roadway paving services. And for more on that, we'll turn to.
The fiscal year 25 CIP budget includes funding for roadway paving services of selected city streets. The city issued a request for bids on August 19, 2024. But bids were requested to provide pricing for the fiscal year 25 roadway paving services. Two bids were received, with each firm's unit pricing based off the provided schedule values. The first bid submitted was by CJ Miller LLC and the second by MT Laney Company Incorporated. City staff has evaluated references and the unit pricing from both submitters and finds CJ Miller LLC to be the most financially acceptable regarding the city's needs. It should be noted that CJ Miller LLC has successfully bid contract periods and has performed satisfactorily during that time. Work under the contract shall begin in fiscal year 25 and be completed by June 30, 2025. The fiscal year 25 CIP includes an allocation of $3,125,957.60 for roadway paving services. Staff recommends that the mayor and common council accept the unit pricing bid by CJ Miller LLC of Hampstead, Maryland, and award a contract not to exceed the amount of $3,125,957.60 for roadway paving services.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Summerhill. Let's get a motion to get this properly before us. We have a motion to award the contract.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to award the contract to CJ Miller LLC of Hampstead, Maryland, in the amount not to exceed $3,125,957.60.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hoff. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Dayhoff. Second by Mr. Dayhoff. All right. Any discussion on this item?
I do have a kind of a curiosity
Sure.
question, Mr. Summerhill. So I'm assuming once we approve this, that work will start right away. And over the period of winter where you just simply can't do the work because it becomes too cold, or is that not necessarily the case with this kind of work?
So if it gets too cold, blacktop plant shuts down, they'll stop work.
Gotcha.
So they might get this fall, they might get some work done, and then they'll pick up as soon as the weather breaks. You know, it could be late February, March, you know, when they can fire up the blacktop plant.
So it just all depends, obviously it all depends, because you can, depending on how mild the winter is, I would imagine you could still do work for a couple months now.
Yes.
But that served that up correctly.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, just curious, thank you, that's it.
All right, thanks, Ms. Huff. Mayor Becker?
Yeah, just real quick, is this paving project, this is for next year or this fiscal year 25, the one that in this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, includes Main Street,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Main Street won't be completed until the spring though. We're gonna wait till the very end of the season to pave it.
that makes sense.
The purpose for that is so that we don't have more weather, et cetera, et cetera. So we may start it sooner and we'll find out from the contractor when they can begin, but we'll do Main Street last.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Dayhoff?
Yes, I have a peripheral question for Mr. Hoff. What's the prognosis on the HUR monies with this, the upcoming?
I would say that's too early to know.
Okay,
We will see what happens. There's always rumbling that there might be further modification to that.
okay,
Nothing has happened yet. So far, what has been previously approved, you know, whether that was last session or the session before, I can't forget, it all blurs on me. That still holds as of right now, which was the increase in funding. But
thank you, Mr. Hoff.
and it's
Thank
certainly something that I will be keeping an eye
Yeah,
on,
we-
but also the MML Legislative Committee, obviously.
you. That isn't one of the LARs, is it?
No,
Well, they're always making it effective.
Yeah, okay, all right.
yeah, but it's not, because the way it is right now, we're satisfied with it. We just don't let it change.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hoff. Thank you, Mr. President.
Certainly. All right, Ms. Holst, you'll share with us the list of, projects once you've got that put together, so we'll be aware of what's gonna happen. Great, thank you. All right, very good. Any further discussion? Hearing none, move on to vote. All
Aye.
those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have, the ayes have it. Contract is awarded to CJ Miller, LLC. Thank you, Mr. Thornhill. Next item is the award of contract to SFMS Incorporated of Bethesda, Maryland, in the amount not to exceed $240,000 for ADA ramps and sidewalk retrofit services. Mr. Somerville.
Fiscal year 25 general fund budget includes funding for the retrofitting of sites for bids on August 27, 2024, with bids due September 27, 2024. Bidders were requested to provide unit pricing for the fiscal year 25 ADA ramps and sidewalk retrofit services contract. 6 bids were received, with each firm's unit pricing based off the provided scheduled values. City staff has evaluated references and unit pricing from all submitters and finds SFMS LLC of Bethesda, Maryland submitted the most economically beneficial bid for the city's needs. The work under the contract shall begin in fiscal year 25 and be completed by June 30, 2025. Fiscal year 25 budget proposal for the general fund includes an allocation of $240,000 for ADA ramps and sidewalk retrofit services. Staff recommends that the mayor and common council accept the unit pricing bid by SFMS LLC of Bethesda, Maryland, and approve a contract not to exceed the amount of $240,000 for ADA ramps and sidewalk retrofit services as further described in the attached bid, and authorize the mayor's execution of the associated contract.
All right, thank you, Mr. Somerville. We have a motion to award the contract to SFMS Incorporated of Bethesda, Maryland.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract to SFMS Inc. of Bethesda, Maryland, in an amount not to exceed $240,000 for ADA ramps and sidewalk retrofit services.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
Now second that.
Second by Mr. Dayhoff. Any further discussion, questions? Really? This is on part of our ongoing effort to get all the street problem.
Mr. President.
Mr. Dayhoff.
How much longer is that list of retrofits that we need to do? Is it simply ongoing?
Yes, I can get back with you on that,
Okay.
how extensive that list is.
Okay, okay.
So that list is always going to go with our paving contract because we need to update the concrete related to the paving. So paving is always going to be asphalt, and these ADA and sidewalks are the concrete piece of it. And then if we, for example, chose a road for paving that didn't need a lot of concrete work, we would go back in and deal with just certain intersections after we finished with the concrete work, so that we've completed all 240,000.
Mr. President,
Mr. Dale.
may we have a list, because I get questioned about this at least once a month. If we could have a list of the proposed ADA retrofits that we're going to do. Are you with the process of taking a look at the ADA retrofit that was done at Route 27 Main Street? I still get complaints about it constantly. Right there, Jim Hanson's curbs. Matter of fact, we had another person fall off the curb at the Oyster Stroll.
Right.
Those
I'll
are,
also follow up on that.
those are a state responsibility, so they've been out here to look at it and they deem it to be appropriate. That's why the yellow paint's been out.
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you.
Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, move on to vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have the ayes have it, and the contract is awarded as discussed. Thank you. Next item is unfinished business. There's no unfinished business of which I'm aware. Does anybody have any unfinished business to remind the council? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. There's no new business on the agenda. Does anybody have any? Hearing none, move on to departmental reports. Now we'll ask Ms. Halls to lead us through the departments.
Thank you, sir. We're gonna start out with the recreation department and a reminder about our Spooky Saturday event, which is the next event coming up on October 26th. Businesses and street vendors will be open to trick-or-treaters. Parents and children alike can delight in a variety of activities, including games, crafts, and live entertainment. Don't forget to stop by the city's information tent to enjoy a free donut hole, a cup of apple juice. So that's on Saturday, October 26th, from 3 to 6 on Main Street.
Let her not compete with the college tonight.
To that, of course, is Miracle on Main, which is on November 30th. We're all looking forward to that as well. Are there any questions for the Recreation Department?
Mr. President,
Mr. Dale.
after a good bit of discussion, the American Legion has decided not to do the Halloween parade this year. I'm still getting a lot of questions. Thank you.
It's time to move on to the Housing Department. Mr. Brown?
Thank you. I just want to share with the mayor and council that each year, the Department of Housing and Urban Development rate the performance of each housing choice voucher program using a system they call the Section 8 Management Assessment Program. And for the period ending 6/30. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank our staff for their efforts, because without their good effort and attention to the work that we need to do, this would not have been possible. So I just wanted to just give them a shout out, as well as make you aware of the designation.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Brown, and to your staff as well.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'll be happy to answer your question. I have nothing else to say.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Brown? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Public Works Department. Mr. Sumhill?
Thank you. So the Oyster Stroll last weekend was a giant success. Street Department helped with Parks and Rec carry that off. And in addition to Street Department, these larger events that we have going on, the other departments have to help in and lend a hand. And we have utilities and we have wastewater out this weekend too. So I want to just give a shout out to those guys. Sometimes they're behind the scenes and not really seen, but we certainly appreciate their efforts. Thank you.
Mr. Summerhill, I just want to say, you know, I was thinking about it during the stroll, and I was just there as another member of the community enjoying the stroll. But those events are so well run. And so you guys across the board, everybody that's involved with that, just does a tremendous job. And I was even thinking, you know, you even have, you know, sinks by the porta pots. I mean, it's everything's really well thought out of. And I normally have a lot of friends that come in for the different strolls, and just everybody is always Westminster, as well as how well the event is run. So, I mean, just phenomenal job.
Thank you.
I would say, I think we're all aware that it's an all hands on deck kind of situation when we do these events for all city staff and, you know, from Public Works and all the divisions of the police, Parks and Recreation, everybody's engaged. And I just want to say, in addition to that, something that I've been really pleased about over the last, I think, year really, is that not only are all the folks who are really engaged in making these things, work out, just showing up, to participate, even if they don't live, right here in Westminster. Very, very pleased to see, everybody coming out and supporting these events. I think that's a real testament to the spirit that's growing amongst city staff. So thanks to everybody wishing them.
Thank you for saying that.
I would add one thing to this that, I'm not sure you were sitting in that seat when we had the last stroll. But one of the things that I'm continually impressed with the strolls, every time we have one, trash cans are not overflowing. You wouldn't know we had a major event with thousands of people in the street 4 hours after it ended. I mean, it's just, it's fantastic. So again, I just want to make sure to recognize the fact that, not only do we put on this great stroll, these great events, but thanks to the phenomenal city staff we have across the departments, you wouldn't even know.
To those guys. Yeah,
They are out there working all afternoon.
thank you.
I'm even impressed in all honesty too with the community, because unless the chief is not telling us something, it seems like the community's pretty well behaved on those events. I don't hear a lot of, drama or anything happening, and we have a lot of people coming into those events.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah, which is great. All around the board, everybody is doing their part, so.
All right, here are no more questions for the Public Works Department. We will move on to the IT Department. Our problem solver of the day, Mr. Moore.
It's the most, not too much, just in the middle of right now, a couple of audits going on. Also doing our periodic review of the tools and the utilities we use to run the IT department, just to see what else is out there and kind of compare and contrast what we're doing. Other than that, it's been business as usual. Unless you have questions.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Planning Department. Mr. Dufault.
Thank you and good evening. On October 1st, the Board of Zoning Appeals approved BZA case 2407. This granted a variance for the Mine Canine Buddy project from a 300-foot setback requirement for a lot zoned residential or a residential detached dwelling within that 300-foot distance, and it's located on conservation property. On October 2nd, the Historic District Commission reviewed the proposed painting of the brick building and new exterior building mounting lighting at 56 West Main Street and provided a recommendation of approval to the Planning and Zoning Commission. They also reviewed facade improvement and tax applications, reviewed and approved for 60 and 6264 Main Street. This is the SD Inc. property as well as American Ice Cafe property. This is for improvements to the, bless you, some brick and new windows as part of that proposal. The Historic District also discussed the inventory project and the nation's 250th anniversary. On October 17th, the Planning and Zoning Commission is scheduled to hold a public hearing for the Willows project located northeast of Pennsylvania Avenue and Sullivan Road. This is the 42/2 condominium market rate units that are being proposed. And the Planning and Zoning Commission is scheduled to hold a work session for the A1 Urban Living Condominium. This was AKA the Sunny Place Condo project, which is located 222 East Green Street. You may recall the Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing for that project on September 19th. They left the record open until 5 p.m. on September 30th and voted to forward the project to this future work session on the 17th. We received only one additional comment since the record's been open regarding the project. Bless you.
Sorry.
Just want to remind everybody that Saturdays from Ames Market and November 6th will be the last Westminster Wednesday of the year. This was a new activity that was proposed by the Downtown Business Association, and we look forward to next year continuing it. And that completes my report.
Are there any questions for Mr. Depot?
I just want to say that I have been at every Westminster Wednesday that we've had in town, and even though I think one of them was definitely rainy, maybe two, or I can't quite remember. The last one was not, but I have thoroughly enjoyed the evening spent in town with friends. We usually go out to dinner and we wander around town a little bit, so I would be happy to see these again next year.
Here now, we'll move on to the Finance Department, which I'll give that report. We're just in the middle of the audit. It's a very busy time of year for the Finance Department. Chugging on there. Are there any questions for the Finance Department? Here now, we will wrap up then, as we always do, with the Police Department. Chief Ledwell?
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
We were also audited by the Maryland Police and Correctional Training Commissions regarding our hiring process and records, and I'm pleased to say we were found to be 100% in compliance with both. On October the 5th, St. John Catholic Church Blue Mass, which is held in honor of first responders in Carroll County. And I was honored to give the marks for that service. On October 9th, we designated PFC Dominic Frank, our 2024 third quarter police officer of the quarter, based on exceptional performance during this period, some of his arrest warrants and service of those warrants. Also on October 9th, we awarded our civilian of the third quarter to Administrative Assistant Jennifer Quick. Ms. Quick was recognized due to being the go-to person at the police department for a variety of employee needs and quality tasks within the office of the chief. That concludes my report. Do you have any questions?
Are there any questions for the chief? Hearing none, Mr. President, that concludes the departmental reports.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Imhoff. Appreciate it very much. The final item on our agenda is citizens' comments. This is when we invite the public to address the mayor and council on any issues that pertain to tonight's agenda or any other city issues. Excuse me, for citizens not attending the public meeting, we invite you to send us your comments by email. All comments received by email will be shared with the mayor. We ask that commenters please include their address and phone number with their comments. I will now invite comments from anyone who is present this evening. Is anyone here who wishes to be heard? If so, please give your name and address. Yes, sir.
My name is Tim Lebo and I live down here on Main Street, 10 East Main, the building behind the library. Didn't really come here to address anything to say. First of all, I'd like to thank the chief. Anytime I've ever had interactions with your folks have been just great. You have great staff, and the same with Public Works, really great staff. The yellow painting on the curbs, I don't know, maybe it's my OCD. I look at that and think, how come it's so slopped up over where it should be? I don't know why that is.
I'll get with the street department and
It's a minor thing, just, I'm curious why it's so slow. For a long time. I worked down in Baltimore. When I go down past close to Patterson Park through one of the neighborhoods, there are string lights up. And I wonder, could we consider string lights down here on this side of Main Street? It just makes it more, I think it makes it more welcoming, lights it up. I mean, that's kind of a dead, it's nice that we have music there. I think some string lights could really spruce it up and make it a little bit more inviting. And the last thing I wanted to say is that I brought this up with the police. We had, like I said, we live down here at 10 East Main, it's the building behind the library. We really spruced up that property and that land right there. I think it's really good too. The 6-foot fence that we had running along the graveyard was damaged probably about a month and a half ago. We talked to the police. They came out and took a look at it. They were going to talk to someone, I believe, from Public Works, who that was. But that person referred us to come to the city council. It seems like something that wouldn't be discussed here at the city council. But I wonder if we could consider, or maybe have a separate conversation with you. I look at that and think, and maybe you're familiar with this, Chief. People come in from Green Street, walk along the edge of to the side of that side of the fence, graveyard side of the fence. That's where our fence was damaged. And if that was just blocked off and it's just a 3 or 4 foot section, then people wouldn't come through there anymore. So should I talk to you or send you an email?
sure, we'll talk after the meeting and exchange information.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for coming and sharing those comments. Anyone else wish to hear? Right, that concludes our agenda and the meeting. Our next regular meeting will be Monday, October 28th. And without objection, we are adjourned.